Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages. Welcome to the NAS Independence Tournament Group Stages. This is going to be Group Stars, and this is going to be round one of it. And we got 4 rounds of action, mayhem, and strategy coming your way today. But first and foremost, for those of you who aren't quite acquainted as to who I am, I'm RedEyes, your ever-lovable and adorably cuddly caster, bringing you that daily dosage of butt kickery, tomfoolery, and all-around shenaniganism. And we do have a stacked lobby for you today, boys and girls. We got Alter Esports, Bope Esports, Excuse, Execute, Golden Eagles, Infinity, Jaguar, Lethal Mentality, Loops, Mayan Empire, Overnight, The Puppeteers, Revoke Esports, Royals of War, Team Kesso, The Panthers, TZ Esports, 2Z Esports, pardon me, Ventru, YKG, and Extreme Slayer. So I'm expecting nothing but action right off the bat. We're kicking things off with Miramar. But before we get too much into the thick of it, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to go ahead and introduce the founder and organizer of this event, Mommy herself, who's going to explain a little bit about it. Go ahead, Mommy. Introduce yourself.
Oh, hello. I'm Mommy. Okay, so the Independence Tournament, there's 4 groups. This is Group Stars, which is 20 PFL teams. So once top 3 from this tournament will go straight to finals. 4th through 9th will go into a survival stage, which is called One Nation, where they will play out of the other 4 groups. There will be 8 teams divided in from these groups of 3 groups. They will play each other for 3 days.
Okay. Very
Top
cool.
16 out of overall standings will go into a wild card stage where the 16 teams will play again for the last chance to make it to finals. Once wild card is done, it goes top 4 from wild card goes into finals. Then finals there'll be 16 teams. So there'll be 12 from group stages and 4 from wild card, and then they will play in finals for 2 days. Top 4 will be rewarded a prize pool, which is first place is 500, second place is 250, third place is 150, and fourth place is 100.
Ooh, that's impressive. A lot of money on the table.
$1,000 tournament.
Goodness gracious. Well, and we are, as I said, we are kicking this group stage off with Miramar, and it looks like we might already have a little something here on our hands. It looks like we got members of the Panthers dropping alongside their opponents in the Golden Eagles, and on top of that, we got a member of Lethal Mentality just showing up to the party as well. Sorry about the render, ladies and gentlemen, but already we're getting some early rotations. Everyone's just trying to find some good positioning. And it's understandably so, because on a map like Miramar, well, first of all, what can you say about a map like Miramar? Essentially, it's going to be the largest map that we deal with in this game because, while Erangel is also an 8x8, it includes a lot of Erangel's bodies of water. So this is going to be the most land to cover here. And so that means that you got to be aware of not just your immediate, but your distant surroundings as well, as this is a very open map on top of that. So now that we are getting into the thick of it, we see Golden Eagles already going off in the distance with their first takedown of the day up against the members of the Panthers. And it looks to be a 2v3 here. And now we have 0-3-1-2 just trying to get moving around, get rotated, maybe even potentially get some resources here. He does find himself fairly well equipped here in terms of armor and weaponry, finding himself with that M4 UMP-45, that close quarter combat annihilator. He's got his close range weapons and distance range, at least for the time being, well accounted for. And off towards the northern portion here, we can see members, it looks to be of Overnight, very close by the full 4-piece of Excuse. We see Draco already readily equipped with that M4 AK-47, trying to get an Overwatch look on Qin. Not getting any such luck there. Looks like a member of TQ off in the distance. That's going to be none other than Team Queso. Well, let's not waste any time. See what sort of action they're getting into it with. It looks to be like they are up against none other than the NA heavy hitters in YKG. We got Skipper with the Uzi M4 holding position. He does have the extended on it. So that's definitely going to account for something. And he's going to pick it over the AK. It's a bold move, Cotton. We'll see how it plays out. All right, and just to get a little bird's eye view of the spread here, you can see 24K holding the building opposite and just holding position around this corner, waiting for any easy opportunity. Any cheese that sticks itself out in the open is going to be in the danger zone, so to speak. But let's not forget that this is a 4v2 given the current stance here. So 24K could be in quite a pickle, but nice takedown right off the bat. His first knock and dishing out a whole heap more damage. Keep in mind, YKG already coming in at a huge disadvantage as they have lost half of their starting lineup from the get-go. So as a two-piece, they have to play this very carefully, very cautiously, and well, I'm hesitant to say passively, but let's just say with some reservation. We know YKG is not a very passive team, and they like the action. 24K quickly switching to that S18, keeping his opponent held off at the stairs at bay. Ooh, little hardcore parkour as he drops down. Now just trying to escape this thunderstorm onslaught of bullets raining down on him. He is taken down to about 1/5 of his overall health. Gonna try to get this first aid off before the inevitable push from his opponents, leaving the Overwatch and cover fire onto Skipper alone. Well, as you can see, Lovin taking quite a hit and definitely needing to prioritize some healing instead of the attack. So that's what's happening there. And Skipper just holding position, waiting for that. Now, it looks like we have something else happening in the distance. Yeah, we do. Ooh! Well, 24K is down. It's all riding on Skipper. Can he skip his way out? No, he's skipping right on back to the lobby, ladies and gentlemen. But no time to waste, because up north, we've got another altercation on our hands, this time between the likes of Loops and Alter Esports. Let's go ahead and get into it. Alter Esports at this point down to a two-piece of 27 and CJ. And as I say it, the caster curse is real. CJ is down for the count, and it's all on Test to carry on the name for the team. And considering that this is match one, you know, there's a lot of money on the table here, and this is a marathon, not a sprint. If I was Alter Esports, my priority here would have to be securing some placement. You don't want to impede too drastically upon your chances of advancing here this early on. And so the only way that they're going to get some decent points here is by making it through in-game. And while by all means placement is less emphasized than prior, eliminations are the new emphasis of the PMPL scoring structure. That is not to say that it is without a strong purpose. Placement is still very important. All right, catching wind on Lethal Mentality's Tasty. Tasty with a nice overwatch of over Yay 99 of the Panthers, and just patiently waiting for any line of sight, and boom, the patience pays off, ladies and gentlemen, in spades, as he gets the quick takedown onto Jay. Now quickly aggressing towards his opponent, trying to get a thirst, but being put in check and humbled very quickly as he is shot down to 1/4 of his overall health. He realizes it's not going to be so easy. But we have more action off in the distance as Bope Esports engages, and it looks like Alter Esports, the solo from Alter, getting a takedown on a member of Loops. Now, what a bold decision that is, because, you know, Loops is a team that is internationally renowned for their skill level. So to be engaging in this, this Puppeteer, still, regardless, I mean, that's still a fairly strong, team to be going up against. Puppeteer, a renowned professional team as well. And to engage in a 1v4 there is a risky move, especially considering how much you have riding on advancing. Well, catching eyes on Carrillo of Ventru. It's him, Connor, and Dallas at this point. Inns has already been taken out of the equation here for round one, and things are gonna get interesting as Carrillo drives right by the opponent, not taking a lick of damage somehow, just barely dodging it, but his opponent with very little, his teammate with very little health trying to rejoin him. Now this could be interesting as Carrillo gets this hilltop overwatch. He might be able to catch a line of sight on Cardozo, but even if so, Ayala seems ready and prepared from just over that hill ledge to attack, going to emphasize the importance of knowing the geographical advantages when compound cover can become few and far between. And, ooh, Connor with the monster nade onto Ayala. And this is the real chance here for Ventru. And they're not going to waste it. We got Dallas pushing up to the party to rejoin his teammates. And they're going to come in aggressing upon Cardozan as a three-piece. Cardozan with the UMP-45 and the low ground disadvantage, still getting the first knock. Boy, swallowing some spray and pray shots through the smoke, and he is actually going to be taken down right there, leaving everything reliant upon Mythic and Chief. Mythic wasting no time, firing away with that single-shot DMR, and quickly evening the odds here. And in the Golden Murado, he advances towards him with blood on the mind. Is he going to be able to pull this off? He actually is not as outnumbered as I thought. It was a 1v3, but very weakened. Pardon me, withdraw that. It was a 2v3, a much closer fight than I had earlier anticipated. But as the caster curse is all too real, it's definitely down to him alone now. All right, well, Mythic swallows that nade hole, being taken down to below half health, and Dallas finishes it right there and then. Don't mess with Texas. All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to leave us with a little bit of a spread, with exception to one region. That's the Hacienda del Patron area in the northwest portion of the zone, where Excuse is taking on the likes of Overnight. We got Memory, Draco, Matt, and Kai. Still a full four-piece. And just to give you, it's a 4v3 here, it looks to be. Overnight, what's his name here? Holding position with that newly buffed VSS. All right. Catching eyes on Nito here. It's actually going to be Rise who's in the immediate concern, because he's got multiple members beneath him. Oh boy, Execute out for blood here, but it's going to be the likes of Excuse, apparently. Kai, yeah, it's going to, my apologies. This is going to be Kai. It looks to be a slight error in the slot list here, so my apologies. Nito approaching him with a Tommy gun in hand, but shot down at 3/4 health before engaging, and it was quick work, leaving everything reliant upon what's-his-name, and what's-his-name alone. And again, you know, in this situation where you're reduced down to the final member of the team in round one, and keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we are only breaching the endings portions of stage 2 just now. So there's plenty of gameplay ahead of us here in round one. So if you are Overnight, what is the move? Do you try to avenge your fallen teammates, or do you try to think long-term and get those survival and placement points? Well, that varies on a case-by-case basis, but given the structure here and the layout of the land with a 1v4 handicap favoring against him, I would say, you know, it's in his best interest to just try to escape. But either way, it doesn't look to be an option at this point, so we're going to switch our attention elsewhere, where Royals of War, as a current three-piece, just got a little altercation with the Jaguars, and I say little because the deed was done before I could even switch over. Royals of War bumped themselves up to 4 kills, with 3 of those kills going to Rowan alone. Now, the zone is shrinking, ladies and gentlemen, giving our participants less and less room to occupy, less and less real estate to choose from, and it's going to be a contestation for territory from this point on. Already, if you'll take note, we can see towards the northern portion of the zone, we've got members of, it looks to be Revoke Esports, just beneath the likes of Ventru, and I do expect that to be some sort of altercation in the coming moments, especially considering, if we zoom in here, you can see Wamulam holding a nice little overwatch position atop the hill at Junkyard, and he's going to be scouting here for his teammates, just trying to keep an eye on the position north of the zone, seeing if there's any gatekeeping opportunities afforded to them. Well, putting some warning shots on an empty vehicle, he showed that vehicle who's boss, but we are down to 12 teams spread across 44 participants at this point, ladies and gentlemen. And as we progress throughout the remainder of this match, it's going to move towards the direction of all-out warfare. it tends to be the case here with a map as open as Miramar. It explains, just a little bit of the reservation and hesitation in the first half of the match. It's such an open map. And as I said at the beginning of the match, you have to be accounting for not just your immediate, but your distant surroundings as well. So everything has to be played fairly cautiously while there's 80 participants in the beginning of the match. But as those numbers dwindle, you're going to see our participants, whether they like it or not, going to be forced into the thick of the action. Carrillo already, per example, being swarmed upon by the likes of extreme slayers like mosquitoes in a North Carolina summer night. They are coming in. Ayuya taken down right then. Oh, but revenge served cold and fast as Dallas goes down as well. So it's all on Connor and Carrillo from this point forward. And he is going to be given hot pursuit to Frady of Extreme Slayers. But this is a geographical advantage for Frady. Atop this little hill, that geographical cover could have been his saving grace, but it turns out not to be the case in this situation. Quickly switching over to Connor, who has a priority on reviving Dallas. That's going to put Carrillo in charge of overwatch and cover fire as he does so. That's going to leave Robert GG as the primary threat here. So we'll switch to his perspective. Robert GG of the Extreme Slayers. I'm going to try to switch to his perspective. There we go. And it's got to be an escape route for him on the mind, and I don't blame him one bit, but he is in a ticking time bomb, and that wick is close to out. That vehicle was smoking, and maybe 1 or 2 bullets would have meant in-game for him. Back to lobby. I think he made the right call, although risky as it is, running across this field, but it's going to be all for naught. Caster cursed in the end. Maybe I was wrong. I'll choke on my words there, ladies and gentlemen. You can document the date and time. First time I've ever been wrong about anything. All right. That's sarcasm. Catching eyes on the Golden Eagles. This is a real opportunity here for 0312 and Buffalo B to utilize a gatekeep upon their opponents in, pardon me. That's going to be their opponents in Mayan Empire. Now, Mayan Empire, still a full 4-piece, but with 0 kills to their name, is going to exemplify a completely different strategy than we were seeing from the likes of, YKG early game. This is going to be the slow haul here for the Mayans. Oh, but as I say it, Lucas is shot down alongside his teammate Lucifer. That's going to leave everything on Guerrero and Folo to carry on the team name here, and they're going to have to take the fight head on if they want any shot at reviving their fallen teammates. Let's get into it. All right, Guerrero perched upon the hilltop trying to get this high ground advantage as G3 goes to join them already at a half health disadvantage and a low ground. Quickly taken down. It's going to leave Zara and Buffalo as the final 2 hopes here. All right, Zara trying to get a new positioning while Buffalo roams on towards the fight here against the Mayans, and the S12 speaks louder than any words can. One shot, done. All right, well, that's going to mean the Golden Eagles are going to carry on likely as a 3-piece, but keep in mind, all that noise and commotion could have definitely put out their location like a honing beam, so they're going to have to be careful as they rotate into zone. But Royals of War already preparing for an altercation. Here we have it. Up against the likes of Team Queso. Queso is down to Lovin, Mia, and Potro, where they just had Rays knocked. As I said it, Lovin a little bit weakened at this point, just a little bit below 3/4 of his overall health. Going to try to utilize this opportunity to heal up. But one thing that they have going for them is they already have this new zone, or at least close enough to the barrier of it that they aren't going to have to worry too much about a rotation or migration into zone. We got Mia of Team Queso firing outwards at the Eagles, and boy, that Eagle was shot down from the sky as Zara is knocked and quickly taking a couple more bullets there to add insult to injury. Mia not able to secure the knock, and this is due to a great play here by the Eagles, utilizing the geographical cover where it's afforded to them. There's no compounds here, no walls keeping those bullets away, so that's when it really comes down to knowing the hills and divots. And the good thing about the Eagles' placement is that if one of them is knocked, it's just a few crawl steps back before you're out of the line of sight of the opponent. Well, Lethal Mentality putting a little bit of labor in off in the distance. We can go check in on that. They are still a 3-piece with 3 kills to their name, and rotating in from the southern portion of the zone. Their most immediate threat is going to be the likes of Nicro from Bope Esports. We see Botnik here, nice little Sonic reference, with the M249 UMP45 combo, dishing out a little bit of damage, but it's going to be Sloth that finishes the job there. And Tasty with a nice Overwatch retaliating for the knock on Sloth. And boy, Bope in the heats of battle right now. It's going to leave Nicro as one of the final hopes. Nareg is very injured, needing to heal, leaving Nicro in charge of Overwatch and cover fire. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. If you haven't already, please like the channel or like the video, subscribe to the channel. I run a $450 monthly tournament, second longest in NA, and you can always join in. But this is NAS, and this is a big deal right here. We got Hang from Puppeteer holding an Overwatch from the back end while Ben Chillin cooks up some nades Martha Stewart style. Maybe a little bit overcooked there as he just had to throw that away. But quickly trying to enshroud himself in what utility cover he can to assist alongside the compound cover that he has. But as the Panthers played the kind of the slow haul here, we can see Trick utilizing this opposite building, making sure that they're not going to be trying to evacuate or spread out into there, while KP24 holds the building at hand, keeping the pressure on Ben Chillin. Ye99 from the distance getting a nice little Overwatch in case they do get any semi-successful attempts at an escape. But the Panthers are going to have to be aware. Remember what I said about Miramar? Got to be aware of your immediate and distant surroundings. And boy, oh boy, does he ever, because he's got Lethal Mentality behind him, ready for action. All right, well, all-out bloodbath warfare from this point on. Oh, it's going to be Lethal Mentality shot out of the vehicle. Both of them taken down by the likes of Revoke Esports. Revoke has revoked their right to finish the match. Now, Puppeteers stringing their way up against the Panthers, and it's going to be Trick right up next to him with that DBS double-barrel shotgun. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is still pre-nerf territory. That DBS is a absolute CQC annihilator, but boy, Trick swallowing some bullets on his own, needing to heal up, leaving KP24 in charge of Overwatch and cover fire. All right. Ooh, Queso's Mia with a monster nade. All right, well, one Panther down, and another Panther retaliates as K24 throws out a dish of revenge right there and then. Running out of UMP ammo, he's got to reload, and somehow managing just to get that reload without taking a knock. But boy, taken down to 1/5 of his overall health, it's gonna be needing to prioritize some healing, but quick reaction time and finishing the job right there and then, bringing himself up to 2 kills and the team up to 3. And it looks like the Panthers are going to try to carry on as a 2-piece, but we're down to our final 2 teams. It's going to be the Panthers versus a full 4-piece of Revoke, unless KP24 can get this aggressive push on them before they're allowed to heal. But we are reaching the end game of round 1, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be an onslaught from here out. It's a 1v4. KP24 just outnumbered, outmanned, outgunned. And boy, oh boy, did Revoke ever send a early message to the entire playing field saying, hey, we came to party and we came to win, as they secure that gold medal first place finish with that fresh chicken dinner on the tip of their tongue, taking it with 12 kills. And 8 of those eliminations go to Myth on his own. Heavy backpack right there, but a great group effort as well. The Panthers crawling their way into second place. Ain't nothing wrong with silver, with 3 kills to their name. The Puppeteers stringing into third with 6 kills, half of which go to Ben Chillin. The Queso Boys in fourth place, this time with 9 kills. Not bad work at all. Those 9 eliminations are definitely going to come in very handy once we see the overall score points. We got members of Lethal Mentality securing 5th, but doing so with a very healthy 9 kills. The Eagles landing in 6th place and doing so with 12 kills between 3 of their players, 5 of which go to Zara. We got Bope Esports securing 7th with 1 kill from Skur. 8th place belonging to Royals of War with 4. Ventru in 9th with 7. We got, pardon me, this is going to be Mayan Empire grabbing 10th place with 1 kill from Folo. Excuse in 11th with 4. We got the Extreme Slayers, but no extreme slaying in this round as they take 12th place with a big fat onion in terms of kills. Overnight in 13th with 0. Jaguar in 14th with 0. We got TZ. This is going to be Tuzi Esports in 15th with 0. Loops finding their way into 16th place with 2 kills, 1 to Ayala, 1 to Mythic. We got Alter Esports grabbing 17th with 0 kills. And keeping up that trend, we got YKG in 18th and last place with a big fat onion as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is just round 1 down, but we still have 3 more rounds of action, mayhem, and strategy for the group stage, the star group of the NAS Independence Tournament. So stick around. We're going to be back in just a few short moments and covering the next 3 rounds in just a few short moments. Stick around, be back soon. Yada, yada, what are words?
Yeah, I'm muted. Good. I was so nervous. I was trying to hurry up and I was like trying not to stumble over my words. I'm about to start this next. Do the next. Do you want me to add you before you go to pee? There you go. Okay. Okay, so it's gonna start at 45. So I'll give it 6 minutes in between. No, you could do 2 cams if you want. I could just open up a slot. You should go back and forth with it when you want. I'm used to it. Salty usually does a split screen. That's what he uses. Yeah, he uses like an iPad and he uses his PC, and I noticed a lot of streamers are using emulators, so I was like, wait a minute, I seen Green use hers, and I was like, what? So I downloaded it, I was like, oh my god, this helps me so much with hosting, oh my god. Yeah, it does. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. I thought I muted myself. It's 531-558.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to round 2 of 4 of the NAS Independence Tournament Group Stages, Group Star. And we are kicking off round 2, as you guessed it, that lush condensed forest, rainforest, I should say, of Sandhawk. Now, what do we need to say about Sandhawk? Well, essentially the exact opposite of our last match, which was Miramar, our largest map. This is going to be our smallest. Now, technically, Livik, Karakin, and now the newer map of Nusa, all smaller than Sandhawk, but we don't really mess with those as much in the esports scene. So, this is going to be the smallest map that we have on our hands, meaning that the odds of two teams landing next to each other is just going to be a bit higher, just due to less real estate to occupy. But as I said at the beginning, it's also the most lush and condensed map. Now, what do I mean when I say condensed? I mean most vegetation. There's more natural cover to take, more grass to hide inside, and trees and boulders to hide behind. So you got to be alert for a higher than average number of snakes than usual. And the third thing is that this map is so small that it really can be independent of a flight path, meaning that you can get pretty much anywhere you want just by deploying your chute early enough. And already we are getting some early jumpers. We got the likes of Excuse dropping alongside Loops at Painan. Meanwhile, a little further off, pardon me, a little bit further off to the west, we can see Ruins going to be contested between the likes of Ventru, Extreme Slayers, and potentially getting some northbound loving from Team Queso. But already there's action on the board. Let's get into the thick of it. Robert hasn't even landed? I'm pretty sure he hasn't. It's a render issue. Yep, it's just a little bit of rendering. Oh, Infirm is quickly down. It's down to Colga and Carrillo. Carrillo and just running for their life, trying to escape the heels of Extreme Slayers who, well, they may not have done any extreme slaying in round one. They came in ready to in round two. So, no time to waste as the likes of Excused finds themselves as the deli meat in this peanut butter and Scrooge sandwich that Loops is the bread in. Ooh, and off in the distance, the Jaguars and YKG's having at it. Ooh, nice takedown by Draco. All right, we'll catch eyes on the Jaguar YKG altercation in just a moment, ladies and gents, because your boy RedEyes is bringing in a second view, ideally. Trying to. Ground. Mommy, I think it honestly glitched out and put me in the water where I'm not able to actually join in. What? Usually we would be able to have a second map view, ladies and gentlemen, but it appears that while I did join the room, it kept me in the loading area. So while I've seen the kill feed, it's not doing much. I've never had that happen before, but we will get you an alternate map view coming in round 3, I suppose. All right, so gonna tune in elsewhere. It looks to be, yep, we do have more action. The Queso boys and the Extreme Slayers duking it out just outside the outskirts of Ruins. We see Milovan with that VSS, as I said, newly buffed. It's a faster firing rate, a considerably faster firing rate. Huge shout out to Bushka for that video. And couldn't be really any happier to see it kind of get that buff. The VSS is one of the all-time best trolling weapons in the game. You know, just that lack of sound can really add the frustration and panic factor on your opponent. I'm curious to see if it's going to do so in this altercation. Well, as I said about Sandhawk, you know, if you ever expect to find a snake anywhere, it's going to be the jungle. And boy, we got one sneaky grass snake on Team Queso in the form of Mia, creeping closer and closer to Frady of Extreme Slayers. I'm going to try to restart the alternate map, see if it'll bring me back in. Well, Frady is down for the count right there and then, ladies and gents. So, making sure that we're not missing anything out on the eastern front, and it looks like there is another altercation between Lethal Mentality and the opponents in the Panthers. Now, if you ever expect a Panther to thrive on a map, it's going to be the jungle map of Sandhawk. Yay 99 is a burning candle right now, while KP24 holds the corner. QQ just barely escaping the clutches at Molly and securing the revive, while Trick provides the overwatch and cover fire. All right, just a few feet separate these two teams, and it's a battle of patience at this point, ladies and gentlemen. Neither team wants to present any opportunity or at least no easy opportunities for the other to get a quick knock, especially considering, how close this could be, especially considering how, Lethal Mentality is already coming in at a little bit of a weakened standpoint here, potentially a weakened standpoint with that off-flyer. They have Botnik a little further out. I'm actually going to withdraw that statement. I thought Botnik was a little bit further out. He's holding an off angle, and while I thought it was disadvantageous at first, I think it might be their saving grace now. I like what Tasty's doing as well, just perched on the roof while Versa holds the first story, keeping the pressure on both angles. But look, you got another little threat here in the shape of Trick, filling in from the team Execute here for the Panthers, going in and potentially going to pre-boost here while KP24 scouts with his ears for any potential sounds of threat. Now, a little bit further off to the north, just inside the edge of the zone, we got YKG getting closer and closer to overnight. Now, YKG had a very rough start to this day, finishing their first match, I believe, in last place with 0 kills, and it is a very unfortunate start. It's going to be a tough one to bounce back from. There's a lot of slack in the rope that they're going to have to make up for, and it's another tough start to the round for them as well, as they've already lost half their starting lineup. 24K and Fears quickly taken out, leaving everything on Yi, TDM, and Skipper. We got Yi aiming outwards, 3x M4 in hand, trying to catch a line of sight on Nito, but very careful about when to engage. You've got to make the shots count. You only get one surprise factor here before your location is compromised. And he made the most of it. The damage that he started, Skipper was able to finish, and it's a knock on Nito. And that is going to put overnight here down to a 3-piece of Rise, Hewen, and what's his name? All right, well, we got the other map fixed now after that restart. So I'm going to keep eyes elsewhere on the other altercation at hand between Lethal Mentality and the Panthers, just to make sure we don't miss any intense action and gameplay. All right, well, before I get that set up, he's got the revive going, and yeah, this is the closest thing to an altercation, so we'll stay here for the time being. And how fitting that a member of Overnight has a nice Overwatch. All right. Yeah, there we go. Now it's working. Making sure. All right, so off in the distance, we've got Lethal Mentality hanging out in the dead zone in a battle of patience with the Panthers. And you know what? We're going to get eyes on that from both ends of the altercation. Ooh, that's a quick takedown on KP24, leaving QQ. Pardon me, QQ is down as well. So it's going to be down to just Trick and J99 for the Panthers. As you can see, Versa trying to keep the pressure on his opponents and secure some thirst while escaping the clutches of that nade. However, it did scrape a little bit of health off of him, taking him down to about half health. He's going to try to get this revive on Tasty. And Trick is down, so it's down to Ye99 at this point. And boy, Ye is taking a heap of side damage from the newly revived members of Lethal Mentality. And at this point, he is the final hope for the Panthers. And he's trying to run away with his tail tucked and escape their clutches. Maybe secure some decent placement if it's at all a possibility. But I think he's right here to take this fight on because he's just outnumbered, outmanned, and outgunned. But the ability to escape this... You know, actually, I'm going to withdraw that statement too. He should have maybe tried to escape. With this much compound cover, he might have had a shot, but the odds of being able to handle a 1v4 are slim to none. So, you know, neither option was looking very promising, but I think it might have been best in that situation to cut his losses. But that's always from an observer standpoint with, you know, observers have that 20/20 hindsight vision. Always easier to say when you're not on the field. But Zara just finishing off YKG, and the Golden Eagles land themselves in with 2 kills on the playing field, and it looks like Zara might be able to get this revive on his fallen teammate G3. We have another altercation potentially in the making here as Revoke prepares to fight Overnight. Now, Revoke putting out one heck of a first round message to the entire playing field that it was all business for them. And I'm wondering if they can keep up that momentum here in Sandhawk. Because keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, every map is different. Different geography, different landscape, and that means different tactics need to be implemented. What worked so well on a map like Miramar might not be the ticket for a lush condensed forest like Sandhawk. All right, with revives on the mind, Myth is going to go for it. Now, if Overnight allows this, this might be an error on their end. But as you hear those sounds, they are not keeping any leniency here. They are keeping the pressure on the likes of Revoke. Nades fallen by, but the revive has been secured. So, Revoke now is a 3-piece, going to have to handle a 3v4 against Overnight, and the odds have been evened and now stand in their favor. 2 members of Overnight now down and currently in a sandwich situation. Off in the distance, it looks like Puppeteer is going to be engaging with none other than Jaguar Esports. Now, much like the Panthers, if there's another team that's supposed to thrive in the jungle, it would be the Jaguars, right? We got the Jaguars, the Panthers. I would say the only other team, I don't believe they're participating in this one, the Black Mambas. But those are the teams that I think, for irony's sake, should just thrive on this map. We'll see if they can live up to the expectation. The Queso Boys going after Ventru off in the distance. We'll catch eyes on that. Now, keep in mind, they have already lost 1 member, being reduced down to a 3-piece of Mia, Potro, and Maleven. But the immediate threat that they had at hand is alleviated. We got Royals of War up against the likes of Team 5 here. And I believe there's an error in the slot list. So, yep, it's excused. It's not an error on their end. It's an error on my end. Excused here up against Royals of War as Matt is down like a bad habit, leaving everything reliant upon Kai, Memory, and Draco. Kai holding the back angle, utilizing that geographical cover and keeping the pressure on Elite. All the while, Draco up at the forefront here, trying to get some smoke on his fallen teammate, leaving it really on charge of Memory to do the all-out berserker aggressive push. And here he catches wind. Royals of War, what's his name here? Already weakened. Can Memory secure it? He does with that UMP-45 CQC Annihilator. All right, no time to waste. We got more action on the board. The Puppeteers got to make sure that there ain't no strings on them. Then they might get hung by those strings right now, as it's all down to their final hope up against the Jaguars. Victex, although knocked, well, Saba tried to secure the revive, but was able to cut it off and put the spray out before taking a single bullet of retaliatory damage. That was impressive on his end. Great reaction time on his end. Quite the opposite for the other. Well, Overnight does finish the job now, as it's down to what's his name trying desperately to heal up before this zone finishes him off. And he does so successfully as he works his way up to his 2nd kill in the team's 3rd. He is the last knight remaining, and is Chivalry dead? Yes, it is. The Jaguars from the low ground compound distance takedown. Wow, that was pretty impressive. I'm going to go ahead and title that just for the heck of it. All right. Well, that leaves us down to 29 people spread across 10 teams, ladies and gentlemen, as we reach the concluding portions of round 2. This zone's going to shrink, and if ever there was an immediate threat, it's going to be in Sandhawk, where there's honestly, you know, the compound cover, given this layout, it's getting a little bit more sparse. But the threat is always going to be ever looming, because it's so condensed that you can have an enemy in the grass right next to you and have no idea. Well, you know who did have an idea is Bope Esports. They had the number for Lethal Mentality dialed in and getting some quick, easy kills, working their 4th and 5th kill into the equation, carrying on as a full 4-piece. And ladies and gentlemen, As you know my spiel, you cannot place enough emphasis on being a full 4-piece come in-game. It can be the absolute difference-making variable between life and death. Chicken dinner or no chicken dinner. All right, well, a little bit of a spread here, as tends to be the nature of PUBG. Now, we're working with 3 large maps, and I'd say that Sandhawk probably isn't a large map, so we'll boil it down to irony that we have a little bit of downtime here. But, you know, it does happen, and you know what my spiel says? Even if we have a somewhat passive mid-game, that's only going to directly translate to a more action-packed and climactic in-game. So it's going to be worth the trade, if and you ask me. Well, Bope Esports taking some warning fire from the distance by Alter Esports, but boy, Alter Esports giving their location up like a honing beam just caught wind from the Golden Eagles. Golden Eagles at this point down to G3 and Zara. G3 soon to not be, and case and point. It's all down to Zara. He goes prone just in the nick of time, but can he heal up before this inevitable push from Alter? And boy, he cannot. Zara quickly eliminated and sent back to lobby. All right. 22 people across 7 teams. Excuse taking shots from the southbound regions from Alter Esports. Gonna get that up on the alt cam here. As Test 27 needs to heal, it's going to be relying on the Gabby and Test. So there's Test and Test 27. Kai holding a nice little positioning here with a high ground advantage, but finding himself outside his zone with some ground to cover. Time is of the essence here, and not a lot of it remains. Now, take notice, ladies and gents, that Team Queso implementing a nice little gatekeep on their opponents in 2Z Esports. 2Z hasn't had a whole lot of screen time yet, and that's just out of coincidence, not intentional at all. So we'll catch eyes on their end from the alt cam as they prepare to face off up against the likes of the 3-piece of Team Queso. Mia holding this compound corner. Milovan inside. Well, it's going to be a knock on Mia. That's going to reduce them down to a 2-piece of Potro and Milovan, and that is going to complicate the situation, especially considering it's Team Queso that they're up against. But, you know, Silence and Oishi don't have a whole lot of health. Oh, but Potro downed in retaliation, leaving Milovan as the final hope here for the Queso. Can he be the big stinky cheese? Oh my god, my dad jokes are making me cringe. Alright, well, he does secure some toxic thirst in the equation, and gonna try to secure a revive on his fallen teammate Potro, but the pressure is mounting as the push from 2Z, or what remains of 2Z, Malozin 69, engages, grenade in hand. Ooh, and it's quick damage there, but ultimately Milovan with the UMP 45 finishing the job. No time to waste as Alter Esports prepares to face off against the southbound threat of Team Excuse. Now keep in mind, Alter Esports, the deli meat in this peanut butter and treble sandwich, because the deli bread is going to be Excuse Esports and Bope. And boy, Excuse quickly approaching them with a high ground advantage and an off angle. If they are aware of Draco's location, they might have a shot, but if they're not, well, it's Draco sent down, leaving it reliant on Kai, Memory, and Matt. Kai gonna try to secure the revive. So Matt and Memory in charge of overwatch and cover fire. Matt, the sneaky grass snake. Memory just staying right on by. But boy, one nade could rule them all and end everything for round 2. All right. I think we're gonna catch eyes on Milovan off in the distance. Oh, as I say it, Milovan is eliminated just like that. So, not going to happen there, but shots being fired outward from members of Bope Esports towards the final solo member of Jaguar. Meanwhile, Excuse facing off against Alter. Well, that's Kai of Excuse retaliating for the knock on his teammate, but not quite able to secure that thirst, I don't believe. But look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse even as a full 4-piece come in-game, and already with 10 kills on the board, the caster curse is all too real. If you didn't believe in it before, I bet you do now, as Kai is quickly taken down, leaving Matt and Draco remaining. Matt cooking up one. Can it connect? It does! Beautiful nade by Matt of Excuse. Wrecking into Bope Esports, but a nade thrown in retaliation. 2 nades thrown! It's nade on nade crimes, ladies and gentlemen. They are falling like raindrops in a thunderstorm here. All right, well, that is going to be it. No excuses for Team Excuses. They are eliminated, and we are left here with a 1v3 scenario, ladies and gents. It's going to be Vicdex of Jaguar Esports up against a 3-piece of Bope. Well, any way you look at it, ladies and gents, that's got to be game over. But what an impressive performance by the likes of the Tier 1 heavy hitters in Bope Esports with 12 kills to their name. And take a look at this. I mean, honestly, 4-3-4, almost evenly distributed amongst those 3 players. We got Jaguar finishing pretty strong here in round 2. And yet, as I said, you expect the Jaguar to do well in the jungle. And they're going to be taking that silver medal with, count them up, 9 kills. Bope with 12. We got the likes of Excuse securing 3rd place with 11 kills. Alter Esports in 4th, but with 2 kills from Gagabi. The Queso Boys cheesing on in to 5th place with 8 kills, half of which go to Milovan. We got 2Z in 6th place with 4, half of which go to Malozin. We got Milovan and Malozin on 2 different teams. Okay. Extreme Slayers in 7th with 2. Working their way into 8th place, it's going to be the boys in Golden Eagles, landed in 8th with 2 kills, both of which came from Zara. Ventru in 9th, but with 0 kills to speak of. We got members of Lethal Mentality in 10th with 4 kills between Versa and Sloth. Overnight in 11th with 3. Revoke, much tougher pill to swallow this time around with that healthy, strong finish in round 1. A lot of that's going to be undone here in round 2 as they get this 12th place finish. But not for nothing, they were able to still put up 6 eliminations in round 2. So that's definitely going to help even that hit a little bit out. The Puppeteers stringing their way into 13th with 3 kills, all of which came from Reckless. The Royals of War standing high and mighty and chivalrous here in 14th with 2 kills to their name. We got YKG, another tough one for them. 15th place with 0 kills. Speaking of a tough one, well, the Panthers were not the highest performing cats in round 2 as they take 16th with a big fat onion for kills. The Mayans in 17th with 3 kills, 2 of which came from Loops, finding their way into 18th, but with 2 big old loops for kills. That's not good. 0-0-0. Well, Execute gets no executions in 19th place either with 0. But, ladies and gentlemen, well, that's only half of the matches down. We still have 2 more maps to cover as we return in just a few short moments for round 3 of 4 of the NAS Independence Tournament group stage for the Stars. Stick around. We'll be back soon. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back. Sorry about the intro. To round 3 of the NAS Independence Tournament Group Stage for the Stars. We got a interesting view here of test. We're going to go ahead and switch that up. And we're kicking off round 3, as you guessed it, the very first map ever introduced to PUBG Mobile, Erangel. Now, what do we need to say about a map like Erangel? Well, essentially, it's the off-bred love child to Sandhawk and Miramar because it's the perfect middle ground between those two extremes, which is going to leave it fairly reliant upon the flight path to determine what sort of early game we actually end up getting. So let's have a look at what we're working with. Well, as you can see, it's going to be a northern-oriented zone, breaching from the, I guess we'll say the coastal regions outside of Quarry towards Stauber. And this is going to be an interesting flight path for a couple reasons, but it's going to leave a decent number of cities and compounds to occupy, but it's not going to be so abundant that I would expect a slow start. No, I think we're going to get some contestation for the Roshawk School region. Georgia Pole looks like it's going to be getting some early game loving as well. Already, we can see some outliers here in the mix, as YKG is going to, YKG going to be rotating southbound down the edge of zone and claiming Primorse all to themselves with no one to compete with. As you can see, as we zoom in just a little bit, get a closer eye here, we've got members of Jaguar not far off from Lethal Mentality at all in the South Georgia Pole region. Now, just north of them, we're going to have to keep note, Execute is going to be occupying just the way across the river, so they're going to have to be aware of that threat as well. And it looks like Lethal Mentality is going to do a bit of a split here, which is going to come with some potential risks on the table here for them. But it looks like Roshawk is going to get some early game contestation between members of Overnight and Loops. And I do believe, yes, we have YKG already going off in the distance, getting some early game kills, which is, I see. I thought they landed there alone, but it was actually the 12-21 dilemma. Team 12 and Team 21 are very similar in color, so it can be difficult to see that if you have your saturation up. But it's Mayan Esports, Lucas with a pistol and nothing but still almost giving out a reasonable amount of damage there towards Skipper. But it's going to be Skipper who gets the gold on it, leaving the final Mayan hope here, Guerrero, with an AK-47 DBS combo, quickly approaching 24K, and it's easy work for the likes of YKG. They were putting those first 2 rough games out of their head and coming in guns a-blazing from the get-go in round 3. All right, we'll go check out this Roshawk lovin' that we have potentially on the board. Meanwhile, Puppeteer having some action in the distance. Now, Puppeteer, I'll pull them up on the alt camera. As you can see, they're relatively, very close actually, in proximity to members of Excuse. Yeah. Speaking of Excuse, we got Kai holding the second story, nades at the ready, with a double PP Bison and UMP-45 SMG combo, finding himself reliant on some SMG weaponry out of necessity more so than preference. But that UMP-45, as we know, in this situation, one of the best options you can possibly have if you're being outnumbered, outmanned, outgunned in a close quarter combat scenario. Well, Draco, with very little in terms of weaponry, gonna throw a machete through the window. That is definitely getting clipped. I love it. I mean, the odds are slim, but who knows? Crazier things have happened. I'm going to switch to Overnight's teammate here. It's going to be what's-his-name at the forefront of this. We'll go ahead and put the other map out of view. Oh, it's actually Qin who's taken down by Luke, but Mythic is retaliated on by what's-his-name right there and then. UMP-45, not a bad mid-range weapon, despite popular opinion. All right, Nito, now healed up, cooking up a nade, Martha Stewart style, gonna make it try to rain a little bit of hellfire inside. And Loops, Ayala, and Cardozan. Chief has an off angle here, too. Cardozan as well, so Ayala is going to be the one holding off the threat here from the second story. UMP-45 in hand with an S-18 as a secondary, and quick work on to Rise. Boy, Rise just took out Chief and then revenge served out. But boy, Ayala is down too, and now it comes down to the heart, my ladies and gentlemen. Cardozan is all that remains here. And honestly, I don't blame him if he tries to weasel out of here. And I think this is going to be the time to do it. Overnight has to secure some revives, but he's got blood on the mind, ladies and gentlemen. He is not going to bow out. He's actually going to hold the corner here. And boy, if Chief was able to make it back to him, that would be a huge error on Overnight's end. And the shots have been fired. 44 taking quite a hit, but not enough to secure the knock. And as we know, is my quote from the scripture of Vin Diesel: it doesn't matter whether you knock by an inch or a mile. If you didn't knock him, you didn't knock him at all. Winning's not winning unless you win. And so it's almost as if it never happened. As 44 heals up, Cardozan going to make his big break for it across nothing but open field. Now, elsewhere on the map, do we need to be checking anything? Yes, we do. We got Puppeteer fairly close to the Queso boy. So we'll get Queso up on the other map, or the other screen, pardon me. Oh, it's Execute going off in the distance. We'll catch eyes on that. So Execute, a full 4-piece of Telly, Zute. What? No way. If this is legit, I am going to just freak out fanboy style. Like, if Zute is coming back to the comp scene, that spells a world of trouble for everybody who's not on his team. I mean, that guy is a brainiac when it comes to strategy in this game. I mean, he's almost par none. Like, you can't really... I don't know if there is anyone who can really hold up against his knowledge of this game. And he picks up on so many things that might not be obvious to the untrained eye. So, boy, if this is him, I really am going to just be super excited. And Zute does secure the thirst on Versa right there and then. All right, so Telly with a nice little Overwatch angle. He's gone fishing for some Lethal Mentality members, and he's got Botnik on the end of the hook and finished off right there and then. Quick work for the likes of Execute, living up to their name. All right. Anything else on the playing field we should be looking out for? Not really. It's a bit of a spread, and that's to be expected on larger maps, which are, as I said, 3 of the 4 maps that we're going to be working with today. And so, yeah, you can expect some downtime. But as I said in last match, a more passive early game only means a more action-packed in-game, so it's going to be worth the trade. Gonna catch eyes, I think, on Revoke, you know, the heaviest of hitters in round 1, and then suffering quite a hit in round 2 to undo a lot of that progress with a 12th place finish. So you know they need to be really aggressive and finish with good placement in these coming matches here. These last 2 are going to be very imperative here. Oh, but Patron taking quite a hit as he drives on by, taking down to just above half health, and he's going to try to make his escape here. But those bullets are hitting the vehicle. He has 1 tire down and going to have to adjust his strategy right here and now. But with I'll just call him A2W We'll call him with an Overwatch angle here on the Royals of War. Getting that knock in retaliation, that could be the saving grace that his teammate Patron needs to escape the clutches of Royals of War. And yep, it's going to be an aggressive push. I love it. Revoke is going to revoke Royals of War's right to exist here in round 3, and quickly doing so, but Myth taken down in retaliation. It's all on Mum and Patron at this point. Patron holding the under angle, trying to hold off the potential third-party threat from 2Z Esports. Mum right up in the equation, cooking up some nades. And it's going to be a finish. Before the nade hits onto Light. Lights out for Light. And speaking of lights out, you know, we see Zute in here. I'm just going to fanboy one more time. look at the fourth party coming in from Bope Esports, ladies and gentlemen. It is all out. No chance to take a break. Out of the frying pan, into the fire. This is exactly what the edge of your seat is made for. We got Nareg firing away from the distance while Micro holds the overwatch. Skur right up in the thick of it, though. Boy, this is gonna get intense. Now, we see the remainder of Revoke being taken out in the distance by Royals. Meanwhile, you got Tuzi coming in after Bope. Oshi trying to catch wind of Roa. Not getting any damage there. Roa cooking up some retaliatory nades. Can he make it rain hellfire on the opponent with a little spray and pray? Boom! The deed is done, but it's actually gonna be by his teammate Nareg. Wow. Oh, but it is Roa's nade that takes out Oshi. Nicely done. And boy, now they are the focal point of members of Royals of War. Monster nade. That is clipped. Okay, so where are we going to tune into elsewhere? Looks like a little bit of the spread remains other than what's going on right here. So we'll just stick around here for Bope versus Royals of War. Bope at this point, a two-piece of Nareg and Roa. Skur and Nitro have been eliminated, as we just saw. And so as a two-piece, you know Bope needs to dial things back considerably, take things from that all-out aggressive standpoint to a bit more of a reserved approach, and we'll hope that they can do so. Now Ventru preparing to square off against the Jaguars just beneath them, outside of the regions of shooting range, and Connor firing away, keeping the pressure on the opponent while Carrillo is in hot pursuit. 3x M4 takes Vicdex right out of there. No time to waste. We got another opponent in Jaguar, Seba, getting ready to swallow a nade if it hits. But oh, Carrillo made himself vulnerable for just that brief moment, but the nade just wrecks into him. And that's going to bring it down to 2 Jaguars. It's down to Simple and Joko. All right. Well, now what do you do here if you're Jaguar? Do you engage? You've got a semi-weakened Ventru. So realistically, I think it's a 2v2 fight, but every second that passes is a second where the opponent is likely to get a revive. So, will it happen? It's going to be a push? Simple, the shooter on the roof, so to speak, with that M4 DBS combo, that new meta, which is hopefully not going to be the new meta for much longer, as that DBS is soon to experience a hefty nerfing. In my opinion, a needed nerf, but that's a debated topic. All right, well, it's down to him. Joko and Vicdex, and Simple shooting outwards, putting some hurtins on Infirm, but not able to finish the job. Ooh, but Ventru, now the deli meat in the treble sandwich here, because look who else is showing up to the party. It's going to be none other than YKG. Yeah, it is. 24K, Fears, Chico, and Skipper with 5 kills to their name and still a full 4-piece. This is the YKG I expected to see. All right, now Jaguars just hold in position here. We're going to get a little bit of an aerial view. Meanwhile, off in the distance, is anything else happening? Not yet. But the zone has shrunk, ladies and gentlemen, and look at it. It is going to be divided into 2 halves. The Rozhok half and the northern map half. And boy, everyone seems to be putting all their coins in the northern half of map pocket here. But if it does favor the Rozhok region, it's only going to be beneficial for Overnight and Royals of War. All right. Well, this standoff continues. So I think I'm going to switch my attention over to the Golden Eagles. Yeah, Golden Eagles up against the likes of Extreme Slayers. Now, Extreme Slayers just had Kaka taken down. It was down to Robert, Hayuya, and Frady. Pardon the render, ladies and gentlemen. Hayuya just trying to get reunited with his teammates. Frady utilizing the shack for a revive, but boy, that shack could be his undoing. Those 4 walls provide a false sense of security, and even if you don't know that your opponent's in there, just one nade through that window and it's fish in a barrel. Well, Robert does secure the elimination, bringing him his first and the team's third. All right, we got a four-way fight brewing here in the making, and Puppeteer is going to be caught right in the thick of it if they're not careful. Oh, off in the distance, Telly driving right up to the Eagles. Can he escape him? Well, I don't think he'll need to, because it doesn't look like G3 has a passenger in his car, so no one can fire out. Well, Telly reorienting his attention to the Puppeteers. And I don't know if this is a fight that I would take on if I were him, considering the spread of his teammates. But with the man, myth, legend, Mr. Zute himself here, I'm going to withdraw that statement. And everything I said about a Shaq, if Zute takes a Shaq, you trust the process. You don't question. Like, I mean, even if a nade does fall on him, I just refuse to see this man do anything wrong. Like, he's so smart. So, Zute firing outwards, keeping the pressure from a low ground disadvantage onto Roa, the high ground holder. But this is giving Casper the chance to really be a sneaky ghost and catch the opponents unawares. Now, can he utilize this surprise factor in time? It might not be the case. Looks like Bope is going to reorient their priorities here and focus on getting out of here and into zone, but caught in between three teams. They got YKG in front of them. Behind them, above them, I should say, stands Execute, and behind them is the nearby threat in, it looks to be the, oh, pardon me, that's going to be Jaguar. All right, well, the closest thing to a threat at this point is going to be this looming altercation between Puppeteers stuck in between members of Execute and Extreme Slayers. And boy, he caught the bad end of that stick, taken out by a vehicle explosion, leaving everything on Ben Chillin and Reckless to carry on. Now, as a two-piece, we are seeing a fairly aggressive approach here. Ben Chillin not laying off the pressure, approaching Zute, and Zute doing what he does. Beautiful drop shot right there and then. It's quick work for him. That's going to leave Reckless as the final hope for the Puppeteers. The last string, the last puppet before curtain call. And if he can somehow survive this, I would be shocked. Caught in between a rock and a hard place, and the nades have begun raining down upon him. This time from the likes of Extreme Slayers. Now Reckless entirely has his back turned to Execute, and that could be his absolute undoing. But I mean, in his position, he doesn't have a lot of options. It's going to be tough to account for two of them, you know, two teams spread on him. He doesn't have a lot of options, and the vehicle is not going to do anything except provide the cover from fire. It's not going to give him an escape route. So what's he going to do? Time is of the essence. All right. I'm looking at the map from the alt cam, ladies and gentlemen, and no action on the board there just yet. But I think what I am going to do is switch over to Execute's Casper just in case his opponents beneath him believe in ghosts. And Reckless, you know, he tried to play it smart there, but not a lot he could do there. Zute now working up to his second kill and, pardon me, potentially his third, and the team boasting a healthy 7. Now, keeping in mind that they still have 3 members up, this is a very strong Execute. All right, what about their opponents here in Ventru? We can catch Ventru up on the alt cam, I suppose. All right, it's Infirm holding the geographical cover that he can, but it's taking side damage from a rotating member of Execute. Zute going to try to prioritize a revive, enshrouding Casper in a cloud of smoke. How ghost-like. And Telly in charge of the overwatch and cover fire from that point. Meanwhile, it does look like there's a fight potentially brewing between Royals of War and Team Queso. Oh boy, yeah, this is going to be a tough one here. We got Walita holding position, trying to heal up, while Escanor has a bit of a a low ground to his opponent in Team Queso while staring away to try to account for the opposing threat in Extreme Slayers. That is a tough position to be in, and he's taken little bullets here and there, nothing too serious, but it's going to be an all-out onslaught from this point, because we have 3 teams forming a little love triangle here. It's Team Queso versus Royals of War and Extreme Slayers. Extreme Slayers facing off already as we speak. Ka and Hayuya holding the position here. Ka with a nade cooking up. A little bit of a blind nade. Can he get lucky? Not going to happen there. Rowan very low on health and quickly finished off to follow. So it's going to be, at this point, a 1v3v2 in this little love triangle. And I don't blame Elite for getting on out, dipping out of dodge. And now the last member of Extreme Slayers rejoins the party for a fair fight, a 3v3 against Team Queso. However, is it a fair fight when Queso has the high ground and a little bit of wall cover, along with the fact that they have gotten a luck into the equation and get the new zone as well? Well, luck is out of the equation. As I said it, I cast her cursed. And now it's down to Melovin here. He is the last big stinky cheese remaining here, cooking up a nade for the looming threat that is swarming on him like mosquitoes in the North Carolina summer. It is Extreme Slayers getting the finish, outnumbering, outmanning, and outgunning them. All right. Well, Alter Esports, or what remains at this point, which is RoboCop. Oh, pardon me, Alter's a full 4-piece. Tell you what, we're going to switch this over to the solo in Royals of War. Elite just trying to survive, and not going to happen. He is taken out at the hands of Alter Esports. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 4 teams spread across 13 people remain as we reach the end game for the Erangel match. The round 3 is about to be bloodbath warfare. All right. Well, YKG coming in as a full 4-piece, utilizing a 3-1 split. This is so smart and brave, but oh boy, well, I withdraw that statement. 24 is going to reunite? No, he's going to hold the off angle. It's a risky one, but this is the plan for 24K to take the focus of the attention. That's going to leave Fears, Chico, and Skipper with a nice little opportunity to catch a surprise factor here with this rotation. I don't know that that's actually going to work out in their favor, and it might not be the strategy they're pushing for. Just given the geography, this 3-1 split probably was not what they were going for in that light. But Extreme Slayers now still getting the compound to add to their luck. And boy, Alter is just quickly knocked off the altar right there. It's all down to Gabby, who's trying to enshroud herself in a cloud of smoke, provide some cover to work her way into zone. But the knock onto Chico with the spray and pray shots, beautifully executed. All right. I'm going to get a bird's eye on the alt cam here, just to hold it. Get a better idea of the spread we got here on the table. So while Gabby sticks the revive, the nades come down. Definitely dishing out a little damage, but pretty much minimal, all things considered, looking at Gabby's health. Could have been so much worse in that situation. So probably thanking her lucky stars, but Gabby gonna hold the off angle as RoboCop aggresses towards Extreme Slayers, utilizing the vehicle, shooting underneath the wall, trying to get an easy takedown on Hayuya or Ka, but no such luck. The off-angle holder of Frady, you knew that knock was his, as he shows RoboCop just what bots really do. I figure RoboCop is still technically a bot. All puns intended. All right, let's get it going, ladies and gents. No need for this final map view here. It's a 2v3 scenario. YKG versus Extreme Slayers. The odds have been even. It's a 2v2 Hayuya and Frady versus Skipper and Chico. Oh my goodness. This is going to be so tough. YKG with what would be every disadvantage, but given the actual layout here, it's not. Extreme Slayers can't really attack YKG from this angle without a utility, without YKG, peeking on them. So realistically, if there was another team, YKG would be at a huge disadvantage, but I don't think that's the case here, given it's a 2v2, and now a 1v1. Chico makes his final stand with a DBS, but it is all for naught. And the Extreme Slayers absolutely showing a different side of aggression here than previously. And boy, oh boy, do they do so in flying colors, taking that gold medal first place finish with, count 'em up, ladies and gentlemen, 19 kills on the board. Phenomenal performance, taking out about a quarter of the playing field. Well, we're seeing a different YKG, the YKG that we expect to see come round 3, as they take that silver medal with 9 kills between 3 of their players. Alter, a strong finish, 3rd place, and with 4 kills to add on to it. Vintru in 4th with 5. Royals of War securing 5th with 3, 2 of which came from Escanor. Execute with Zute in the picture. I'm so excited. With 9 kills, 3 of which go to Zute, 4 to Casper, and 2 to Telly. Team Queso in 7th with 3. We got 8th place belonging to the boys in Overnight with 4 kills, half of which go to 44. Bopey Sports weaseling into 9th place with 4 kills, half of which go to Skur. The Jaguars finding themselves in 10th place, but with a big fat onion for kills. The Puppeteers stringing into 11th with 3. The Golden Eagles landing in at 12th, but with 0 kills to speak of. Tuesday in 13th, unlucky, but with 3 kills to add on to it. Revoke, another tough one for them, especially after that monster of a round 1. But ultimately, it's not enough. 14th place with 1 kill from Test 666. We got members of Lethal Mentality grabbing 15th with 1 kill from Versa. Loops securing 16th with 1 kill from Mythic. Excuse in 17th. No excuse for 17th with 0 kills. And lastly, the Mayan Empire. Is that correct? Yes, it is. Mayan Empire in 18th place with 0 kills. Well, ladies and gents, that is 3 matches down, meaning that we've still got 1 more match ahead of us. 1 more match to decide who wants to advance the most. Now, we've covered Miramar, the wide open arid desert, before moving into that lush condensed jungle of Sandhawk, and then working our way into the first map introduced to the game, Erangel. But now it's time to conclude the day with a little chill in the air. I am, of course, speaking of Vikendi as we return for our 4th and final round of the NAS Independence Tournament group stage for Group Stars in just a few short moments. Stick around. We'll be back soon. and then running out of UMP ammo. He's got to reload, and somehow, maybe just to get that reload without taking a knock. But boy, taking down to 1/5 of his overall health, it's gonna be needing to prioritize some healing. But quick reaction time and aggressing upon Cardozan as a 3-piece. Cardozan with the UMP 45 and the low ground disadvantage, still getting the first knock. Boy, swallowing some spray and pray shots through the smoke, and he is actually going to be taken down right there, leaving everything reliant upon Mythic and Chief. Mythic wasting no time, firing away with that single shot DMR and quickly evening the odds here. And in the Golden Murado, he advances towards him with blood on the mind. Is he going to be able to pull this off? He actually is not as outnumbered as I thought. It was a 1v3, but very weakened. Pardon me, withdraw that. It was a 2v3, a much closer fight than I had earlier anticipated. But as the caster curse is all too real, it's definitely down to him alone now. All right, well, Mythic swallows that nade hole, being taken down to below half health, and Dallas finishes it right in 2Z Esports. Mom, right up in the equation, cooking up some nades. All righty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our fourth and our final round of the night for the NAS Independence Tournament group stage for the Stars. And we are concluding the night, pardon me about that Dead in June logo, that's my other tournament. But we are concluding the night with, you guessed it, that ice cold map of Vikendi. Now, what do we really need to say about the map of Vikendi? Well, essentially, you know, it took quite a hiatus out of the esports scene here, as we all know, and it's just now working its way back into it. So this is the map that's going to be probably, if you think about it, the least acquainted for the participants. Now, Vikendi was once in the esports scene before they took it out the entire map for quite a considerable amount of time. So yeah, it's going to be curious to see how the participants handle this, especially considering what is so different about Vikendi. Well, for starters, let's note the obvious. It's a snow map. So yeah, your outfits are going to 100%. If you don't have that disco ball or a white outfit, your outfits are going to make you stick out like a sore thumb against that powdery white snow. But let's take it a step further. What is the big significance of Vikendi? It's that your tire tracks and footsteps leave the imprints in the snow, so you can be tracked even by distant enemies. So that is absolutely going to mean that our participants need to account from what's ahead of them as well as what could be behind them. Well, the Eagle's landing right next to the stinky cheese at, pardon me, Rovino, just on the northeastern coast of Vikendi. So a little bit further off to the west, we can see Bope preparing for a fight against Mayan. Off in Volnova, we can see members of, pardon me, I believe that's going to be members of Execute alongside the Jaguars. So I think we'll tune into a little bit of both. We'll get the Jaguars up on the alt cam right here. Actually, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm going to fanboy over to Zute here on that one, just because I can. And we'll get the Golden Eagles up on the alt cam. All right. Now, Zute already readily equipped with that UMP 45 CQC Annihilator, but finding himself short of the vest to go with. So he's coming in at a bit of a vulnerable standpoint here. It's going to be a tough one. Meanwhile, off in the alt cam, we got the Golden Eagles holding an overwatch, trying to keep the opponents in queso at bay. Now, this is an interesting spread here. Look what Execute's doing, guys. This is a nice spread amongst the cluster here. They have the group of three, but with reasonable distance between them. But then there's the outliers. Casper is holding the off angle across the street, while Telly keeping a threat on Simple of Jaguar Esports. And it looks like the Puppeteers stringing in the first kill, and against the likes of none other than Revoke. So the odds have been evened a little bit. Looks like Revoke got a takedown of his own and secured the third. So being taken down himself, leaving members of Revoke down to a one solo member. It's down to MUM unless he can secure a revive on the distant teammate, which is not like to happen. So we're going to work our way on back to the task at hand here, catch eyes on Execute, and just see if anything happens. And looks like Puppeteer's still going off in the distance. We're going to just mosey on over to that on the alt cam here. Reckless, very weakened here. So is his teammate, leaving Ben Chillin in charge of the overwatch and cover fire, but it looks like their opponents in Queso did secure the thirst on Hang right there and then. All right, we're hearing shots, and it's going to be a takedown on Telly, leaving Fate, Casper, and Zute remaining. Fate perched atop the roof here, trying to catch a line of sight on any Jaguar that's going for the thirst, but Simple has that no problem if he wants it. Luckily, Simple going to prioritize the revive over the thirst, but Fate realizing that there is an off-angle holder to the left, and that is a smart move on the end of Jaguar, keeping that off angle, making sure that Execute can't just swarm through the open, crossing the streets into the thick of the action without taking some side damage. And it looks like Golden Eagles off in the distance. We'll switch over to that, catching eyes for just a brief moment, if we can. Golden Eagles, Team 7. They are out of the equation. Caster cursed the moment I mentioned them. Well, what about this 2v3 on our hands between Excuse and the likes of Ventru? We got Kai holding position through the snow, utilizing what little wall cover he can here against the geography cover of that Ventru and Cole and Connor have. I've just tried to find a fancy way of saying they've got boulders to hide behind. Could have just said that, but anywho, we got Connor and Kolga holding the geographical cover that they have available to them against this compound cover that Excuse has. Now, keep in mind, Ventru still has the numbers in their favor, and with Carrillo out in the distance holding this off angle, it could spell trouble, especially if Matt tries to flank outwards in that direction. It doesn't look to be the case. He's going to go this way, which, maybe the odds of catching an off angle on Cole could happen, but for Cole not to see that would take quite a bit of distraction on the end of Kai. So what else? We got this 3v3 between Jaguar and Execute looming on. Just not a lot happening there at the moment. It could be a battle of patience, as we know can be a theme for a lot of matches in PUBG. But as I said, throughout the previous three, it stands very much so to still be the case here in the final round. A more passive early game means a more action-packed or climactic mid or end game, and it is worth the trade in my opinion. Yeah, that random yellow circle is my highlighter, guys. I was highlighting stuff on the playing field. All right, switching, I guess, on the alt cam. Yeah, I'm hearing nades. They're landing nearby, so pressure is still being put on. Just let's get a better idea of the spread that we have here. Okay, Kai and Matt, look at this as a two-piece. There is a lot of strategy being implemented here, but two corners up against, wow, well, that might work out in their favor here because Ventru, with a very vulnerable advance towards the opposition through the open field, Connor was definitely offering himself there on a platter to Kai. Kai not taking the bait, because if he did, his location would be given up like a honing beam, and like sharks in the water, Carrillo and Cole would have capitalized. But Cole baiting Kai right here and now. Kai still not falling for it. Does go out into the open and quickly forgot about Connor. Well played by Ventru, but not out of the thick of it yet. There's still one Excuse member remaining. It's going to be Matt, perched ready and waiting with the AK-47 Tommy gun combo. Little pre-fire there, not hitting much mark. Cole taking some damage, but not going to be too impacting as he's able to heal. Now shots through the window, doing some damage to Matt. And as I was going to say, not a lot. Taking him down to half health. He's still alive. Got one takedown and quickly finished off by Cole right then and there. Outnumbered, outmanned, and outgunned. All right. Switching my attention briefly over to Tuzi as a three-piece, finding themselves just north of this members of Alter Esports. We got Yoshi here, while his teammate Silence does secure the knock on Test 27. So, this is going to be a potential push here, but if so, you cannot disregard the spread that Alter has here. RoboCop holding that off angle is going to make it awfully hard for Yoshi to put himself out in the open there. And without the smokes, I don't see him securing any sort of thirst. Maybe if he had the nade, he could have, but it would have been an impressive nade to say the least. RoboCop, on the other hand, does have smokes and is going to enshroud himself in them to work his way over across the street towards the opposition in Tuzi. And here we have it. Boy, Yoshi pouncing on him. It's quick work. That's going to bring Alter down to CJ, Test, and Test 27. Meanwhile, the Mayans going off in the distance. Let's catch a brief eye on it just to see what all they're doing. Mayans now with 2 kills, but they lost a member in the process, but look to be a ways away from any immediate threat. So we're going to work our way right on back. Catch eyes on Alter versus Tuzi, the 2v3. Sorry about the render. It's still a mobile game at the end of the day, ladies and gents. All right, I like this. Oh, no, I don't like this. What? Oh, my goodness, ladies and gentlemen. Alter is the deli meat in this peanut butter and trouble sandwich, and the bread is going to be Loops and Tuzi, and they are just unintentionally teaming up here to face off and gang up bullying Alter Esports as Test 27 is taken down. Quickly knocked. It's going to be on Test to revive while CJ does the overwatch and cover fire, but ooh, flip the script. CJ's low on health himself, and now the nade to finish Test 27 and bring Test down to half health. CJ taking more damage, reduced down to just above a quarter. It's a 2v4v2, and this is not looking good for the Alter Esports crew. Let's get their perspective up on the alt cam. Man, CJ up against Myth, cooking up nades and catches him right to the face, sees him 1 foot away and just panic throws the nade. Somehow still alive, and boy, it's going to be a tough one. Here comes the push. Test trying to hold his opponent off at bay, but CJ is knocked. Test, boy, there is a test of battle here, right? And he failed. And I don't blame him. I would fail it too. He was outnumbered and outgunned from the get-go there. But when his one teammate remaining is removed from the equation, it was easy pickings. So, switching on over to what remains of Tuzi, carrying forward as a 2-piece of Yoshi and Wag. Keep in mind, Yoshi responsible for all 4 of the team's kills, ladies and gents, and keeping the pressure from the rooftop on Loops Esports. And now Loops finding themselves as the deli meat here, because none other than Overnight has showed up to the party. All right, I'm going to get a quick look here at this, get an aerial view on the alt cam. Oh, and that's Yoshi being down. Oh, well, that is going to be it for them. That's going to leave Bope here facing off with a nice little off angle, while Overnight could be in a bit of a conundrum. Look how spread out 44 is from his teammates, who probably are going to be working their way closer to assist. But do they know about him? Oh, taking the damage off in the distance, no doubt from the likes of Bope. This is interesting. So 44 having to account for that just in time, somehow surviving. All right. Getting just a little bit better idea of the spread we got here by looking at this alt cam. Just 2 houses apart. We got Loops facing off against Overnight. We have that on the main screen and the alt screen, but off in the distance, the third-party threat from Bope Esports. All right, well, 44 and Qin are up close while Rise holds the off angle. Even though Nito's down, this is still a pretty good placement here. Now, 44 securing that takedown, wasting no time as Cardoso and one other teammate are knocked. It's going to be on Mythic here. Little blind spray here. Blind Fury. Mythic preparing for the push, but ooh, his feet were exposed on the stairs, and that was his undoing. Just like that. So, where's the next bit of blood gonna come from, ladies and gentlemen? Let's zoom in here. There's a lot of a possibility, high possibility, Ventru pulling in. If they take this road all the way into the eastern portion of zone, that they could find some attention from Jaguar Esports holding the south end of Winery. We got, look, you know what? Pardon me. Pardon me, pardon me, pardon me. I have to put this up on the screen here. Look at this zone, ladies and gentlemen. Our participants are kicking their feet, and I am loving it. This is going to be an absolute monstrosity of an in-game for the participants, as almost half of the water, or half of the zone, is occupied by water, just further limiting our participants' real estate options in terms of where to occupy. So that means that we are due for some more action, and on a close, zoomed-in basis with little room to cover. It's going to be bloodbath warfare, and already it looks like Overnight is firing on the southbound threat of Team Queso. Let's get eyes on it. We got RedEyes holding position. And I think I'm going to turn this other cam around so we can just get another view in terms of how far Queso and RedEyes are from one another, and if there are any looming threats nearby that we should be aware of. And it looks like there are, ladies and gentlemen. Overnight, in this 4v4 battle of patience standoff against Queso across the street. But look here, we have got members of BOPE, not too far off to their southwest, and even closer threat looms on the southeast in the shape and form of Extreme Slayers. Not to mention, look who holds the off angle, Zute. And ooh, here we go, Execute preparing to face off right here and now against Ventru. Tell you what, we'll switch the angle here. Zute holding the walls here and not really presenting any easy opportunity for Ventru, but just a little bit spaced out from Casper and Fate, just in case they do take a line of attention and say that Casper and Fate got knocked. Well, that means if Carrillo and Connor push in, they are not like to expect Zute holding that off angle. They're going to assume that he's already, trying to secure a revive or holding the house behind. They're not going to assume that he's out in the open. So he might get the element of surprise if that were to happen. He's just planting the seeds of possibility right here and now. But Queso going off in the distance. Boy. Getting a quick takedown, and it looks like they are facing off while they're staring at Royal Savoy. It looks like that knock was actually on the likes of Overnight. Loops full sending, says my boy Clint Abyss. Clint, thank you so much for being here. Guys, if you're not aware of who Clint is, you must be living under a rock. He is one of the organizers and behind the scenes amazing orchestrators of Aftershock Media Group's Titan series. And if you're not aware about AMG's Titan series, it is one of only two recurring events that recurrently give the open scrim community opportunities to compete against the Tier 1 professionals. And boy, oh boy, do they ever come packing with a $2,000 prize pool each season. They'll be returning at you next month. So be sure to follow Titan Series on everything. That's titanseries.gg to go to their website, Instagram.com/@TitanSeriesGG for social. All right, we got Rowan firing outwards towards Overnight, but this is just putting Overnight in one heck of a panic factor, as Extreme Slayers is also going to creep in upon him, and this is going to spell a peanut butter and treble sandwich here, if I've ever seen one. We got Ka holding the back end as Hayuya pushes in. RedEyes cooking up a nade for retaliation. 44 finding himself a little bit vulnerable, but able to damage Hayuya in the process. But look here, the full squad has shown up to the party. Robert shot down to half health, and the nade crashes on him as he is sent up in flames. Hayuya is taken down. Now it's down to Kaka and Frady here. Ka, with some nades of his own, aimed outwards towards Q and not hitting the mark, close as they may be. But the off angle on Rise, he does get the knock, but the nade landing on him from Nito. What am I seeing? This is an unbelievable end to a freaking intense fight. What did I just see? That was amazing. I didn't know what to focus on before the next thing happened. That was bloodbath warfare in a nutshell. All right. Well, we got shots being exchanged between Execute and the opposition in Queso, but Queso being a focal point to the sidebound threat of Royals of War as well. This is a tough call, because even if Execute tries to advance upon it, they're going to have to worry about the enemy behind them in Ventru, as well as Mayan Empire getting closer to the party. Speaking of Mayan Empire, ooh, wow, Fate cooking up a nade. If this hits, that would be impressive. Finding itself just short of the mark, but still. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's all going to come down to this last portion, this last segment of the final match. Who wants to advance to these finals the most? We got ourselves 23 people across 7 teams, and it's not going to be that way, but for a few moments longer. These participants have nowhere else to run and hide. It's going to be Queso facing off against Mayans. Ray securing the thirst. It's all down to Ray's for the Mayans as he tries to, tries to desperately get this revive off on his fallen teammate, but it is going to be a risky one to say the least. Somehow he is able to do it. It looks like his opponents in Overnight being distracted by the distant threat in Royals of War. Royals of War unintentionally helping out the Queso boys, taking a little bit of pressure off them, but as I say, at 44 coming up to the party, nades cooking, nades thrown back in retaliation. Qin of Overnight does get a takedown right there and then, and it's going to finish the job. Overnight now up to quite a few kills, boasting a healthy 9 and moving forward as a 3-piece. All right. I think off in the distance, we'll catch eyes on Execute right in between members of Ventru, and I guess on the other side, above them, they would have Royals of War. Oh, pardon me, I withdraw that. It's going to be Overnight above them. Nades crashing on down next to the Overnight crew as Rise desperately tries to secure a revive on his fallen teammate 44. Qin off in the distance also knocked. 44 actually securing the revive on Rise. My apologies. But no time to waste. Here comes the push from Zute and Casper. Do you believe in ghosts? Well, if you're Overnight, you darn well better. Oh, Overnight having a tough go of it. And now it's down to 4 teams, ladies and gents. And it looks to be like Royals of War is the next threat facing off against Execute. Zute just holding position, while Fate utilizes some high ground with cover here. But the bullets do skim him, taking minimal damage, though I think he's going to move forward pretty unfazed from that. So where's the next bit of blood going to come from? Look at Execute just really planting all the necessary seeds to secure a victory here, making sure they enshroud their rotation into zone as Casper holds the off angle and catches the attention. But boy, Royals of War not taking that bait, keeping the nades going towards Zute and Fate. But I love this 2-1 split. It's only showing their confidence as Casper knows how to handle his fights in a group as well as in a solo setting. Looks here like Zute and Fate going to push up just a little bit, and the zone is occupied. It's going to be 10 people, 3 teams. It's the end game of the final match, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it going. Ooh! Heavy damage onto Fate. Zute now taking so much damage is knocked. It's going to leave all the pressure on Casper to provide the overwatch and cover fire while Fate heals up. But Fate actually healed up pretty quickly there. Oh, but Casper unfortunately just met a Ghostbuster on Royals of War. They said, I ain't afraid of no ghost. Oh, and Zute swallowing that nade for the thirst. Oh, pardon me, not for a thirst. He was revived and then knocked again. Boy, the pressure all seems to be surmounting and piling on to execute. At this point, Fate in a real conundrum, and boom goes the dynamite, all too literally, finishing off Fate and Zute there and then. So we got ourselves a 4v1 here. Poor Cole is quickly met the ending there and gonna be frozen in ice. And that's gonna conclude it. Ladies and gentlemen, any way you look at it, that's got to be game over. What an intense last match. Bloodbath warfare, start to finish. And boy, that I'm gonna say around zone 4 is where things started to really pick up. And that was just third party on fourth party on fifth party. Loved it. Ventru, let's not discredit them, but first, actually, pardon me, I don't think I even said this. Royals of War getting that gold medal first place chicken dinner on the tip of their tongue finish with 10 kills. And boy, oh boy, Allende responsible for half of those. We got Ventru in second place with 10 kills, and half of which go to Cole. We got Execute, another very strong finish. Now, it might not be that elimination intensive, but we were watching their gameplay, and it was not for lack of altercations. Execute had no shortage of fights, just maybe a run of bad luck in terms of the thirst that they were able to acquire. But again, keep in mind, Zute been out of the comp scene for quite a while, and coming back, just brushing it off his shoulders, kicking the dust off, and doing so well. I mean, what a healthy addition to the Execute team. And I mean, I could not be more excited if he is, in fact, joining the comp scene again. Well, the snowy plains ain't no place for a Jaguar, ladies and gentlemen, as they take fourth place, but with only one kill. That's going to Simple. Overnight, working their way into fifth, but with a healthy 9 kills to boast. We got the Queso crew cheesing on into sixth place with 5 kills. The Mayans in seventh with 7, 4 of which came from Folo ZZZ. We got 8th place going to Extreme Slayers, but they did no extreme slay in that match. Keeping up with that trend, we got Bope in 9th with a Big Onion as well. We've got the Lethal Mentality crew entering the last match as a 3-piece, but still able to get 10th place with 4 eliminations, 3 of which go to Botnik. We've got YKG. I'm about to call them Young Kings again, but YKG just for the sake of it. Taking 11th. It's not been a good day for YKG. I think they're definitely taking this event and a couple others into consideration. I think YKG is trying some new things out, just kind of taking a relaxed approach, not taking it too seriously, and sort of recalibrating and seeing what works and what doesn't. It's been a tough solve for them for the past couple events, to say the least. They're finishing this last match in 11th place with 1 kill from Skipper. 12th place, Loops finding themselves in 12th with 4 kills, 3 of which go to Mythic. We got 2Z grabbing 13th with 4 kills, all of which go to Yoshi. We got the Alter Esports crew in 14th with 2 kills from CJ. The Puppeteers stringing their way into 15th with 4 kills between What's His Name and Ben Chillin. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I only say what's his name because I can't read it, so I don't mean any disrespect whatsoever. So if you know how to say his name in the chat, please let me know. Well, we got Excuse grabbing 16th place. It's been another tough one for them. 1 kill going to Matt. Revoke. Oof, not able to maintain that momentum that they built up in round 1, and it's just been a tough battle uphill for the remaining 3 matches as they finish round 4, second to last place with 1 kill from Test 666. And boy, the Eagle has landed in last place, unfortunately. Golden Eagles taken 18th with 0. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude the Star Group's group stage portion of NAS's Independence Tournament. Now, who's going to advance? we're going to have to wait and see. But be sure that you are keeping an eye on the NAS social medias and have joined their Discord. Mommy, if you want me to, I'm not sure. You think you should actually probably be able to post the link if you wanted. No pressure if not. But, I mean, what an absolutely intense day this has been, ladies and gentlemen. And I cannot wait to tune into these finals and see who is going to be taking home their share of that $1,000 prize pool. But until next time, I've been RedEyes, your ever lovable and adorably cuddly caster, and I'll see you guys around next time. Have a great night, have fun, be safe, be kind to one another. GG's. Try to make his escape here, but those bullets are hitting the vehicle. He has one tire down and gonna have to adjust his strategy right here and now. But with I'll just call him A2W we'll call him with an over, and he is gonna be given hot pursuit to Frady of Extreme Slayers. But this is a geographical advantage for Frady atop this little hill. That geographical cover could have been his saving grace, but it turns out not to be the case in this situation. Quickly switching over to Connor, who has a priority on reviving Dallas. That's going to put Carrillo in charge of Overwatch and cover fire as he does so. That's going to leave Robert GG as the primary threat here. So we'll switch to his perspective. Robert GG of the Extreme Slayers. I'm going to try to switch to his perspective. There we go. And it's got to be an escape route for him on the mind, and I don't blame him one bit, but he is in a ticking time bomb, and that wig is close to out. That vehicle was smoking, and maybe one or two bullets would have meant in-game for him. Back to lobby. I think he made the right call, although risky as it is, running across this field, but it's going to be all for naught as Test 27 needs to heal. It's going to be relying on the Gabby and Test. So there's Test and Test 27. Kai holding a nice little positioning here with a high ground advantage, but finding himself outside his zone with some ground to cover. Time is of the essence here, and not a lot of it remains. Now, take notice, ladies and gents, that Team Queso implementing a nice little gatekeep on their opponents in 2Z Esports. 2Z hasn't had a whole lot of screen time yet, and that's just out of coincidence, not intentional at all. So we'll catch eyes on their end from the alt cam as they prepare to face off up against the likes of the three-piece of Team Queso. Mia holding this compound corner, Milivan inside. Well, it's going to be a knock on Mia. Utilize this surprise factor in time. It might not be the case. Looks like Bope is going to reorient their priorities here and focus on getting out of here and into zone, but caught in between three teams. They got YKG in front of them. Behind them, above them, I should say, stands Execute, and behind them is the nearby threat in, it looks to be the, oh, pardon me, that's going to be Jaguar. All right, well, the closest thing to a threat at this point is going to be this looming altercation between puppeteers stuck in between members of Execute and Extreme Slayers. And boy, he caught the bad end of that stick, taken out by a vehicle explosion, leaving everything on Ben Chillin and Reckless to carry on. Now, as a two-piece, we are seeing a fairly aggressive approach here. Ben Chillin not laying off the pressure, approaching Zute, and Zute doing what he does here. Is going to be engaging with none other than Jaguar Esports. Now, much like the Panthers, if there's another team that's supposed to thrive in the jungle, it would be the Jaguars, right? You got the Jaguars, the Panthers. I would say the only other team, I don't believe they're participating in this one, the Black Mambas. But those are the teams that I think, for irony's sake, should just thrive on this map. We'll see if they can live up to the expectation. The Queso boys going after Ventru off in the distance. We'll catch eyes on that. Now, keep in mind, they have already lost one member, being reduced down to a three-piece of Mia, Potro, and Milivan. But the immediate threat that they had at hand is alleviated. We got Royals of War up against the likes of Team 5 here, and I believe there's an error in the slot list. So, yep, it's excused. It's not an error on their end, it's an error on my end. Excused here up against Royals of War as Matt Now, keep in mind, they have already lost one member, being reduced down to a three-piece of Mia, Potro, and Melevin. But the immediate threat that they had at hand is alleviated. We got Royals of War up against the likes of Team 5 here, and I believe there's an error in the slot list. So, yep, it's excused. It's not an error on their end, it's an error on my end. Excused here up against Royals of War, as Matt is down to like a bad habit, leaving everything reliant upon Kai, Memory, and Draco. Kai holding the back angle, utilizing that geographical cover and keeping the pressure on Eli. All the while, Draco up at the forefront here, trying to get some smoke on his fallen teammate, leaving it really on charge of Memory to do the all-out berserker aggressive push. And here he catches wind. Royals of War, what's his name here? Already weakened. And Memory secure it. He does with that UMP-45 CQC Annihilator. All the necessary seeds secure a victory here, making sure they enshroud their rotation into zone as Casper holds the off angle and catches the attention. But boy, Royals of War not taking that bait, keeping the nades going towards Zute and Fate. But I love this 2-1 split. It's only showing their confidence as Casper knows how to handle his fights in a group as well as in a solo setting. Looks here like Zute and Fate gonna push up just a little bit, and the zone is occupied. It's gonna be 10 people, 3 teams. It's the end game of the final match, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get it going. Ooh! Heavy damage onto Fate. Zute now taking so much damage is knocked. It's going to leave all the pressure on Casper to provide the overwatch and cover fire while Fate heals up. But Fate actually healed up pretty quickly there. Oh, but Casper, point of members of Royals of War. Monster nade. That is clipped. Okay, so where are we going to tune into elsewhere? Looks like a little bit of the spread remains other than what's going on right here. So we'll just stick around here for Bope versus Royals of War. Bope at this point, a two-piece of Nireg and Roa. Skur and Nitro have been eliminated, as we just saw. And so as a two-piece, you know Bope needs to dial things back considerably, take things from that all-out aggressive standpoint to a bit more of a reserved approach, and we'll hope that they can do so. Now Ventru preparing to square off against the Jaguars just beneath them, outside of the regions of shooting range, and Connor firing away, keeping the pressure on the opponent while Carrillo is in hot pursuit. 3x M4 takes Vicdex right. Golden Eagles are going to carry on likely as a 3-piece, but keep in mind all that noise and commotion could have definitely put out their location like a honing beam, so they're going to have to be careful as they rotate into zone. But Royals of War already preparing for an altercation. Here we have it. Up against the likes of Team Queso. Queso is down to Lovin, Mia, and Potro, where they just had Ray's knock. As I said it, Lovin a little bit weakened at this point, just a little bit below 3/4 of his overall health. Going to try to utilize this opportunity to heal up. But one thing that they have going for them is they already have this new zone, or at least close enough to the barrier of it that they aren't going to have to worry too much about rotation or migration into zone. We got Mia of Team Queso firing outwards at the Eagles, and boy, that Eagle was shot down from the sky as Zara is knocked. Utilize this surprise factor in time. It might not be the case. Looks like Bope is gonna reorient their priorities here and focus on getting out of here and into zone, but caught in between 3 teams. They got YKG in front of them. Behind them, above them, I should say, stands Execute, and behind them is the nearby threat in, it looks to be that's gonna be Jaguar. All right, well, the closest thing to a threat at this point is gonna be this looming altercation between puppeteers stuck in between members of Execute and Extreme Slayers. And boy, he caught the bad end of that stick, taken out by a vehicle explosion, leaving everything on Ben Chillin and Reckless to carry on. Now, as a 2-piece, we are seeing a fairly aggressive approach here. Ben Chillin not laying off the pressure, approaching Zute, and Zute doing what he does. I'm just gonna fanboy one more time. Look at the fourth party coming in from Bope Esports, ladies and gentlemen. It is all out. No chance to take a break. Out of the frying pan, into the fire. This is exactly what the edge of your seat is made for. We got Nareg firing away from the distance while Micro holds the Overwatch. Skur right up in the thick of it, though. Boy, this is gonna get intense. Now we see the remainder of Revoke being taken out in the distance by Royals. Meanwhile, you got Tuzi coming in after Bope. Oshi trying to catch wind of Roa. Not getting any damage there. Roa cooking up some retaliatory nades. Can he make it rain hellfire on the opponent with a little spray and pray? Boom! The deed is done, but it's actually gonna be by his teammate Nareg. Wow. Oh, but it is Roa's nade that takes out. Like, Lethal Mentality is going to do a bit of a split here, which is going to come with some potential risks on the table here for him. But it looks like Rozhawk is going to get some early game contestation between members of Overnight and Loops. And I do believe, yes, we have YKG already going off in the distance, getting some early game kills, which is I see. I thought they landed there alone, but it was actually the 12-21 dilemma. Team 12 and Team 21 are very similar in color, so it can be difficult to see that if you have your saturation up. But it's Mayan Esports, Lucas with a pistol and nothing but still almost giving out a reasonable amount of damage there towards Skipper. But it's going to be Skipper who gets the gold on it, leaving the final Mayan hope here, Guerrero, with an AK-47 DBS combo, quickly approaching 24K, and it's easy work for the likes of. Not going to happen there. Rowan very low on health and quickly finished off to follow. So it's going to be, at this point, a 1v3v2 in this little love triangle. And I don't blame Elite for getting on out, dipping out of dodge. And now the last member of Extreme Slayers rejoins the party for a fair fight, a 3v3 against Team Queso. However, is it a fair fight when Queso has the high ground and a little bit of wall cover, along with the fact that they have gotten a luck into the equation and get the new zone as well? Well, luck is out of the equation. As I said it, I cast a curse. And now it's down to Malovin here. He is the last big stinky cheese remaining here, cooking up a nade for the looming threat that is swarming on him like mosquitoes in the North Carolina summer. It is Extreme Slayers getting the finish, outnumbering, outmanning, and outgunning them. All out onslaught from this point, because we have three teams forming a little love triangle here. Team Queso versus Royals of War and Extreme Slayers. Extreme Slayers facing off already as we speak.